We are back with some more Seahawks legacy franchise, and we are fresh off of our divisional round loss, wrapping up year 3, and probably the most disappointing season that we've had in this Madden in this series so far. Season 1, we made it to the NFC Championship, lost that. Season 2, made it to the Super Bowl, had a lead in the fourth quarter, ended up losing that game. And then here we are in Season 3, losing in the divisional round. Also had the most losses. I think year 1 I only lost once. Year 2 I lost 3 times in regular season. This season I lost 5. Do we have a new quarterback? Maybe that's the case why we lose more. I don't know. We had some turnover on the defensive side. So it's a couple things. And we'll talk about what we got to address, heading into the offseason stuff and where we got to try to bolster up. We have to make some tough decisions with some players. So we'll see. We'll see how the offseason goes. But overall, just an overall season point of view, I don't think it was the best season by far. We were a little underwhelming coming from off a Super Bowl victory or loss. And not winning our division for the first time, losing 5 times, getting bounced in the divisional round, just was not overall a good season for us. And so we got to improve a lot quick because we're running out of time this Madden. The goal every Madden is to win a Super Bowl with the team I'm using. Last Madden we did it with the Bengals. Madden before that we did it with the Giants. This time we're doing it with the Seahawks, and it might be the only time I get to use my favorite team in real life in these leagues because some people are Seahawks fans and they latch onto their team, and then the Seahawks are never going to, be available because people are going to use them year in and year out. So we got to find a way to get to a Super Bowl and win. We got to one. We just couldn't get the job done. So it is what it is. Not the best season. We got to retool real quick and have a better season next season. That's just what has to happen. And and we got to just play better. I mean, we just got to play better. So we're going to compare some stats between this season and last. I have the last season stats pulled up on my computer, so I'm going to be scrolling through that to compare, how we did compared to last year and this year. So first one being the quarterback position. Obviously, last year we had Russell. This year of Joe Burrow. Russell's stats last season, he had 5,828 passing yards, 54 touchdowns, and 31 interceptions. So Joe Burrow, 1 less touchdown, 300 less yards, and 4 less interceptions, surprisingly. For some reason, I thought I threw quite a bit more with Joe, but I guess I threw less with Joe, which is interesting. But Joe had 5,511 yards, 53 touchdowns and 27 interceptions on, I think, about 50 more attempts. So 50 more attempts for Joe. He had a little bit less completions than Russell. So, excuse me. I don't think Joe played bad. Comparing to what Russell's numbers are, I don't think he played bad. We just got to be better in crunch time situations. I mean, even in that playoff game, we're down by 5. I got to pick with Jamal, and I have a chance to take the lead. We're in a decent spot. I could take the lead, and maybe we win that game, Even I was down by 8 after that. We forced him to a field goal, and we had a chance to go down and tie it up, and I threw a pick. So, we got to be better with our decision-making. Late in games, that screwed us a couple times. In the playoffs, it screwed us because we had chances. It wasn't like we didn't have chances to win that game. We had a chance. I got that user with Jamal. We had the momentum. We were right there with a chance to win it. Or at least take the lead very, very late, and we couldn't get it done. So, it is what it is. I also think I'm going to try to get a playbook change, just spice it up a bit. Maybe the playbook's getting dull for me, the offensive playbook, just because it's the same stuff I see. So maybe I'm going to probably try to look into getting a new playbook. If you have any, ideas that you think or any, hey, this playbook's pretty good, that playbook's pretty good, any recommendations, let me know. I'm open to looking into some of that, but I'm gonna get rid of Seattle's playbook. I think we got to go a little bit different, and just change it up a bit. Always good to change it up a bit. Seahawks defensive playbook I'm gonna keep. I like it. I'm cool with it. But the offensive side, we got to change it up. Joe also was sacked quite a bit more. Russell was only sacked 27 times to Joe Burrow's 34. So. Russell, when I did have Russell, he had a much better offensive line than Joe has. So maybe that's, a reason why, which is another thing I want to improve on in the offseason, is that offensive line. I got to make it a little bit better. It's got to be a little bit better. I got to get maybe a better center, another tackle, something, man. It's got to improve. To what we have right now is not good. It really isn't. Moving to the rushing side, not a bad rookie year for Mr. Landon Williams. Actually, as I look at the stats, it's not that bad for a rookie season for him. Chris Carson had 283 attempts and 1,341 yards for 20 touchdowns, only one fumble. Landon Williams had 316 attempts, so a little more attempts for him, 1,309 yards and 12 touchdowns, and also one fumble. He did break 5 more tackles than Chris Carson, which is interesting because I feel like he doesn't break that many tackles, but he did start coming on late in the season, which is good to see. He's going to be the starter next season. Him and Artie are the dynamic duo, so it's good to see that. But not a bad rookie year. I mean, they matched on yards. Obviously, he had quite a bit more attempts. The average was a little bit less. Chris had 4.7 per carry. Landon with the 4.1 per carry, so a little bit less on the yards there, even on the game yards. Chris averaged 83.8 yards per game, and Landon averaged 77. Artie actually averaged 50 rushing yards a game, while this season only 30. And part of that, I think, is the offensive line play. I think our offensive line, I just need a couple more pieces, man. It's not like I need to revamp everything. Damian Lewis is still there. I still got Greenfield, I think that's his name. He's my right tackle. He's a young guy. Gabe Jackson, I think, still there for one more season, and I'm going to let him go. So I think the center and left tackle spot is what I really need to figure out, like ASAP. Really need to figure that one out. One thing I did see going through the stats, though, that I did like is Joe Burrow only fumbled 3 times, and Russell fumbled 7. So the fumbles for Joe, a lot less than Russell. Maybe it's because I scrambled more with Russell, which, I mean, I guess that doesn't even make sense because I scrambled more with Joe. Russell only had 34 attempts and Joe had 36. So I scrambled more with him, and he's fumbled a lot less. So I will take that for Joe. That is always great to see. Artie definitely did not have the best of rushing seasons compared to his rushing season last season. Last season, Artie had 194 carries, so almost 100 more carries last season. He had 856 yards last season with 5 rushing touchdowns. This season, only 510 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. I mean, the carry difference, I gave more to Landon, trying to get the rookie more involved. I don't think I think I ran a lot more last season. Definitely ran a lot more last season, and which is something I want to do. I want to be able to run the ball with both these backs, but we kept running into games where people were just shutting me down, and I was getting like 50 rush yards the whole game, and it's like I'm not gonna keep running into a brick wall and just pray, that just hope and pray that I'm gonna bust a big one or something like. And I think that also comes down to just, like I said, offensive line play. I think our offensive line has to be a little better. The pass protection wasn't bad, but rushing-wise, we got to block better. And Damian Lewis got to help. There's a bunch of times where Damian Lewis is missing blocks, and that's supposed to be my mauler. He's supposed to be the guy down there doing all the dirty work. So got to improve that, I think, a little bit going to the offseason, or maybe just draft a guy. I don't know. We got to do something with it. Receiving-wise, DK had a solid season. Tyler had a really good season. Comparing it to last year's numbers, DK did not meet at all last year's numbers because last year's numbers were insane. So DK still had a great season, as always, but last year's numbers were absolutely ridiculous. Last year, DK had 88 catches for 1,955 yards and 25 touchdowns. So absolutely ridiculous. Still had a good season this year, 69 receptions, 1,609 yards, and 13 touchdowns. So not bad for DK. Tyler had a much better season this year than last year. Last year, Tyler had 54 catches, 896 yards for 7 touchdowns. This season, 61 catches, 1,116 yards for 15 touchdowns. Big season for Tyler. Got double-digit touchdowns, got over 1,000 yards. I mean, he was fantastic. Eskridge, about roughly the same, that he had last season. Last season, he had a lot more catches, but basically the same on yards and touchdowns. Last season, he had 72 catches for 1,104 yards and 4 touchdowns. This season, still had 4 touchdowns, just under 1,000 yards, and had 55 receptions. Eskridge is actually a player I'm open to trading, and honestly actively trading, because I don't think I want to re-sign him because he's going to want a lot of money, and I already have a lot of money tied up into DK and Tyler, so I don't really know if it's worth paying 3 receivers, you know what I mean? Like 2, okay, you can get that, but top dollar for 3 of them, that's where it gets a little out of control, I think, and I don't think that's smart to put my money into him, even though I'd love to keep Eskridge. He's going to ask for a lot of money, he's an X factor, you know, he's going to ask for a lot. So someone I'm hoping I can deal in the offseason, maybe get a draft pick and then just draft a replacement to throw in the slot. Thaddeus Moss, I'm letting walk. Didn't have a bad season, pretty similar to last year, honestly. Actually, really similar. He had 8 touchdowns this year, 8 touchdowns last year, 54 receptions last year, 54 receptions this year. The only difference is the yards. Last year he had 994, this year 822. So not bad, but I think I just want to try something new. He's not really taking the next step. He's just like average. So if he's average, I'll just find someone else that's average as well. I can definitely find that. Landon Williams actually had a lot more receiving yards than I thought. 309 to 31 receptions. He also had 2 receiving touchdowns. Artie McKenzie had a solid season receiving-wise with 5 touchdowns, 297 yards, 30 receptions. Will found the end zone a couple times. Colby found the end zone a couple times. Our rookie didn't really get much involved. He found, he got 3 catches, nothing crazy, but that's pretty much it. I really hope I can trade Eskridge, if we're being completely honest, just because, like I said, I really need, I really need my money. I'm sorry, I'm trying to flip through my YouTube video so I can get to the stats for the next spot here. So there we go. Sorry, lost my train of thought. I hope I can trade Eskridge. I've had one person reach out to me. Nothing came from that though. So obviously we're still in season, so maybe people are just not really looking into it as much. So something I hope that I can get done in the off season. Blocking. I mean, Ben Greenfield allowed the most with 10. I'm surprised Damien only allowed 1. That's very interesting to see there, as he played quite a bit. And Gabe Jackson, not bad. So the young man, the tackle, allowing the most. Nothing really new there, I guess. Tackle for loss leader, we have Max Crosby. He had the 2020. Jeez, I didn't realize he had 2020. Puna Ford, great season. I mean, absolutely amazing season for Puna. I don't think it could have been any better. Puna Ford, let me see. Last season he had 10 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. This season he had 19 tackles for loss and 7 sacks. So it would be pretty amazing if I could get Puna up to a superstar with those stats. I mean, maybe he can. I'm really not too sure what the requirements are to that. I'd be more open to re-signing Puna. I think his deal's up after next season, so I'd be more open to re-signing him if he bumped up to superstar. But he played pretty solid for us. Max Crosby is turning out to be the best signing of the whole entire series. I doubt I'll sign someone in the offseason that will produce more than Max Crosby. He led the league in sacks in his first year with us with 20, also 20 tackles for loss. So the goal last season was to figure out the defensive line, and we did, and we figured it out. I think this next offseason I have to bring in at least one solid offensive line piece, whether it's center, whether it's left tackle, one of those positions. And then I also think I need new corners. As much as I want to be like, oh, I've done it almost every Madden, I always do it. I take 2 young corners, I develop them. Last Madden, we have Marvell Tell. I stuck with him, developed him. I think he turned into a superstar at X Factor. I think he might have been actually X Factor at the end, the very, very end of this whole entire series. Turned him into a beast. My Giants one, I had, was my Giants one Marvell Tell? I'm trying to think. It might have been my Giants one that was Marvell Tell. Honestly, I can't remember. The Giants one, I had another guy too. No, Marvell Tell was Colts, I'm pretty sure. The Giants one, I'm blanking on the person I had, but I made him into an X Factor, and then I drafted a superstar corner and made him into kind of a beast too. So I've done pretty good with building up corners. And I just don't know. I'm getting beat too much, man. I'm getting beat too much. I don't know if it's, I think out of all the corners, I think I maybe move Beckwith into the slot. DJ can be the fourth guy, and then Ugo just gets bounced. I think Spencer O'Neal can stay on one side, and then I gotta bring in, like, I'm hoping there's like a star corner out there I can get, I don't know. We gotta bring someone in to help us out because we're getting shredded way too easily in the secondary. We got the defensive line figured out. My safety duo, as much as sometimes they are a liability in coverage, that's the duo I want. They create a lot of turnovers. They hit really hard. Jamal and Marquise Blair, they're staying. So I think it's a corner thing. I think I got to try to find a way to bring in some better corner talent. But anyways, moving on. I'm getting sidetracked now. Brandon Graham had a solid season. Don't think I'm going to re-sign him because he's just going to regress too much. But he was worth the contract that we gave him. 16 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks. He was well worth the money that we gave him. So very, very proud of him for that. Jordan Brooks had 12 tackles for loss, which is pretty solid. As last year, he only had 9. Had 2 sacks this year. Last year, he only had 1. He did get 3 picks last year. Got 3 picks this year. So Jordan doing just Jordan things. You love to see that. I'm trying to see my sack numbers here for the video. There they go. We'll switch over to sacks. Obviously, you know, Marquise Blair and Puna were great. Jaron Reed wasn't too bad. He had 5.5 this year. Last year, Jaron Reed only had 1, so much better improvement. Maybe it's because people are double teaming Max more, so these two can, eat one-on-one a little bit more, which is, really good to see. Picks, I think Jamal was second in the league in picks. I mean, Jamal was just making things happen in the secondary, making a bunch of plays. Got 2 picks in our playoff loss, too. He had 13 interceptions. Last season, Jamal only had 5. So this season, Jamal had 13, only got 1 sack. He had 2 sacks last season, but really solid season for Jamal. That's what we want out of him. Marquise Blair, last season he had 2 interceptions. This season he had 5. No sacks this year. Last year he actually had 2 sacks, and he had 4 tackles for loss, just like this year. So not bad for Marquise. DJ Reed had that one crazy game where he got like 3 picks, which really boosted his stats. Like I said, Najee Beckwith and Spencer O'Neal, these are the 2 that one of them, if I do bring in a corner, one of these guys is going to go down the depth chart. And to be honest, I think it might be Najee Beckwith. Spencer O'Neal, I think he's a little taller, right? Yeah, he's 6'3". Najee, he is 6 foot. He's a little bit shorter. Their speed's about the same. I mean, look at Najee, 78 man, 71 zone, not that good. Spencer O'Neal already has better stats than that. His man's better, his zone's better. I mean, his awareness is 82. I think his awareness is even better than Najee's. Let me check here. Yeah, so I think Spencer, he was a rookie and he played pretty good. I think out of all the corners, Najee's, I don't know if I have Najee as my cornerback 1 or 2, to be honest. I'm not sure. But if I bring in a corner, Najee's going down the depth chart, I think. Spencer, I think, continues to have his spot. Or maybe I draft a corner. I don't know. We'll just have to see how the draft falls and all that stuff, But I think Najee's gotta go. Not go, but he dropped so many picks. I mean, Spencer did drop a handful of picks, but I give him the rookie benefit of doubt, I guess. But Najee dropped so many picks. It's unbelievable. He dropped a pick 6 just in my loss against the Panthers. He dropped a pick 6 and probably won't even make the video, but he jumped the route to perfection. I think it was when it was 24-17 too. Right before halftime, dropped pick 6. It's like, bro, you catch that? We're 24-24. Everyone's hyped. We're getting the ball at half tied instead of down. Like, everyone is just on cloud 9, and he just can't get it done. So, and he gets beat so much, man. He really does. And so it sucks. I wanted these 2 to be like the dynamic duo. I can develop them. I just don't think Najee's that guy. I don't. And Spencer O'Neal, he's taller. He's better in like almost every single stat. I mean, Spencer's just the guy I got to go with out wide. Not to say Najee won't be useful. I'll probably put him he might go in the slot. Maybe I keep DJ in the slot. I'm not too sure. So I'll have to rethink that. But, yeah. That's pretty much that. Jordan Brooks had 3. We had 3 picks from Ernest Jones. Not too bad. Ugo had a couple picks as well. Moving on to forced fumbles. We had quite a bit. Jamal with 5. Marquise Blair with 5. Max had 4. Ernest Jones with 2. DJ Reed with 1. Najee with 1. Spencer with 1. Jordan with 1. Ryan with 1. And Donovan Steiner with 1. We forced a lot of fumbles. which is great. Did we get any safeties? Oh, we did. Jaron Reed, Brandon Graham got some safeties. We didn't block any kicks because we just suck at that. Ernest Jones had 3 pick sixes. I mean, he gets a pick. It's going to the house, apparently. Marquise Blair with a touchdown, DJ with a touchdown, Spencer with a touchdown, and Ugo with a touchdown. That is that for the defensive side. Kicking, not the best. We missed quite a bit of kicks, to be fair. We missed 6. Got to be a little bit better there. Only missed 4 extra points. You know, those we'll take, I guess. Punting is whatever. You know, kick returns, we got to find a better kick returner. I love Artie as a receiving back, but, I mean, what's my longest? A 29-yard return? That's terrible. I got to find someone more, you know, a better special teamer. 15 yards for his best punt return. I just got to find someone better. But that's that for our season stats. I'm going to go over some league leaders with all that, and then some award stuff, and then we'll wrap it up. The next video you guys will see after this is the final re-sign stage. I'll update you on who I'm going to let hit the market, who I'm re-signing, who won the Super Bowl. So it might be a little bit depending on how fast things go, you know, but we'll just skim through some of these league leaders. So passing yards leader, Patrick Mahomes with just over 6,000. Our touchdown leader was Jalen Silver, rookie quarterback for the Browns with 55. Joe Burrow was third. Okay, 53. Not bad. Rushing leader, Dalvin Cook with 1,900 yards. Our touchdown leader was Derrick Henry, tied with Cam Akers. Both have 18. Our receiving leader in yards is Chris Godwin with 1,839. Our receptions leader was Al Langford, tight end, 106. I think he was the receptions leader last year. Honestly, that guy's crazy. Diggs, the most touchdowns. He's got 20. Who's got the most sacks allowed? Poor Kyle Hoskins with 17. That is pretty embarrassing. Tackle leader, Devin White. It's always Devin White. It seems like 112. Oh, I guess that's solo. He did barely beat the Broncos guy with 153. Our tackles for loss leader is Micah Parsons with 29. That is pretty crazy. Max is down here. He's down here where he's at 20. For some reason, it doesn't even show Max Crosby like in the game. I mean, you saw he has 20 tackles for loss, but he's not here. It does the same thing for sacks, which is really weird, as he has 20 sacks, but he's not even listed here. So it says Danielle Hunter is the most, which is just wrong. So Max did have the most sacks in the league. Like I said, Jamal second in picks with 13. We had Steve Redding with 14 interceptions. Our forced fumble leader, tied between, like a massive tie actually, Jamal, Marquise Blair, Derwin James, Devin White, Terrell Edmonds. Kicking, who got the most kicks? Tucker McCain only missed 1 kick and was 100% on extra points. That's what I would like to be right there. That's pretty dialed. This man right here only missed 1 as well. Punting, not too bad. There seems to be, there was some kick returns. There was 2 from the Jets, 1 from Raheem Mostert. Devin Duvernay got 1. Kadarius Toney got 1. DeAndre Swift got 1. Like, we got to be better on special teams. Look at these returns. Look at these long returns, man. Like, I got to be one of the worst in the league. Seriously. Holy shit. What was mine, 25? Wasn't mine 25? Oh my god, I'm all the way down here. Oh, that's Melvin Cruz. Wait. Where am I? I thought I was at 25. Maybe I wasn't. Oh, here I am. 29. God, look at all the people above me, man. I mean, that's too many. That is way too many. We gotta find someone better at kick returns. And punt returns, too. We just, any punt return for touchdown? There was one. The Beals got 87-yard touchdown return for a touchdown. Jesus. That is pretty crazy there. But we gotta find a better special teams player. That is that for the league leaders. We'll go over some yearly awards, and then we'll probably wrap it up there. Our MVP this season was Lamar Jackson. Coach of the Year, Cliff Kingsbury at the Panthers. Offensive Player of the Year for the AFC side is Lamar Jackson. Defensive Player of the Year, Jesse Bates. Offensive Rookie of the Year is Solomon Durant. Defensive Rookie of the Year is Lorenzo Dixon. Best QB is Lamar. Best running back is Jonathan Taylor. Best receiver, Tyreek Hill. Best offensive lineman, Ronnie Stanley. Best defensive lineman, Chase Young. Best linebacker, can't pronounce that guy's name, so just going to skip it. Best DB, J.C. Jackson. Best kicker, Justin Tucker. Moving to the NFC side, our offensive player of the year is Malik Willis. I don't think we did have Joe Burrow at 7, so we had someone in the top 10. Defensive Player of the Year was won by Jamal Adams, which is amazing to see. You love to see the Seahawks winning some awards. Max was down here at number 6. I would have assumed Max would have been a little bit higher as he led the league in sacks, but, you know, it is what it is. Offensive Rookie of the Year is George Carter, a quarterback. I think those are both. No, he's a running back, but quarterback. Surprised Landon was actually up here. He passed a football team. Quarterbacks are always hard to pass up, so the fact that he's ahead of a quarterback that played every single game of the season, so I'm happy with that. He finished 3rd place. Not bad. Defensive Rookie of the Year is Steve Redding. I don't think we had anyone. Yeah, no one there. Best QB is Malik Willis. Joe finished 3rd. Best running back, Rashad White, however you pronounce that. None for us in the top 10. Best wide receiver is Chris Godwin. DK at number 3. Tyler at number 5. So you love to see that for those two. Teron Armstead as the best offensive lineman. No Seahawks will ever see that probably. Best defensive lineman was Danielle Hunter, which this one kind of made me mad a little bit. It's like Max had more sacks. I don't know what the tackles for loss number is, so maybe that's what Danielle Hunter edged him out in, but come on. Come on. Give it to Max, baby. Max deserves it. Max deserves it. Best linebacker, Micah Parsons. We have no one in the top 10. Best DB won by Jamal. So 2 awards won by Jamal this season, which is awesome to see. Best kicker, Tucker McCain. I don't think, we didn't make that list. We're not the best at kicking. But that is that for the awards. And, that's pretty much it for, wrapping up the season. Like I said, kind of underwhelming season. Was not the best for us. Could have been better. It sucks losing every time in the playoffs. But this divisional round, we didn't win the division, and we lost in the divisional round. It's just not the best, man. We didn't get blown out, I guess, which is a good thing. But we got to be better. Look at his team, 87 on offense and defense. We just got to improve the team. We got a decent amount of cap. We can, make some moves here and there. But if we look at the team, I think on the offensive side of the ball, as much as I love Eskridge, I'm going to try to get rid of him. I'm not going to force getting rid of him. Like, I'm not just going to get rid of him for cheap just because I want to. If I don't get a solid enough offer where I feel like it's worth giving up on that final rookie year deal of his contract, then I'll keep him and just maybe I'll resign him, maybe I won't, we'll see. But hopefully, if things go the way I want it to, I can trade him, get a good pick, and then replace him in the draft and get a new slot receiver. That's the plan, I think. But like I said, I'm not going to just trade him just to trade him. If I get a shitty offer, I guess I'm keeping him. Offensive line, Damian Lewis staying, Greenfield staying on the right side, Gabe staying 1 more year, and we're letting him just walk. I'm not re-signing him, but he's got like 1 more year, I think, left. But these, Moses and my center, I think, are both leaving. I got to upgrade here. Maybe I'd draft a guy early, or maybe I'd find someone in the free agency. I got to. I got to help us out a bit. I really do. Will Disley and Colby are both staying. I'd like to, find a new tight end there for Thaddeus Moss, so the offense could see some new pieces. Defensively, Brandon Graham's leaving. Jared and Puna and Max Crosby are all staying, so we have to figure out our other defensive end spot. Like I said, Brandon Graham is worth the money. He's going to regress too much. He might even retire, honestly. How old is this guy? He's pretty old. He's 36. He might even retire, so it was well worth the money when I had him. But just, didn't work out. Max should hopefully go to Superstar too, so hopefully get some good abilities for us next season. The fact that Sidney Jones is still on this roster, maybe I should have played Sidney Jones. He was so far down the depth chart. Maybe Sidney Jones deserves a second chance. I don't know. It's hilarious that he's just was so far down the depth chart, not even existed. But maybe I give him another shot if we can't sign a corner. I'm not too sure. I really am not too sure. Free safety's staying the same. Linebackers, those 3, they're staying probably. I don't see myself doing anything crazy there. So we're going to have a new defensive end and possibly a new corner. I think that's the only really big change on defense, unless I see something like crazy. I can get a good deal or something. Special teams, we need a new special teamer. Just is what it is. We got to find a better kick returner and punt returner. And that's that. There's not many changes we need to make, honestly. The offensive line just has to get a little bit better, and we got to get a new tight end. Defense, it'd be nice to get a better corner, and then, got to figure out the defensive end, this side over here. And, we then just give it another roll, give it another shot. It's like our team's not bad. We just were a couple plays away, a couple, bad passes, 3 picks, 3 bad picks that we had that playoff loss. So a couple bad mistakes, and we lost, got bounced pretty early. Hopefully we can have ourselves a good offseason. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and I will see you guys in the next one.